Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Thursday night live stream. Glad to see everybody's busy in the chat. That's fucking brilliant, Darren. You having technical difficulties, mate.
He's just eager. He's just eager to be here, eager to do stuff, eager to see shit.
Oh dear, that's got to be a first for this stream. The audience is having technical difficulties before we are. So, hope you've all had a great week of gaming. And hobby and whatever else it is that you're up to. I've realised wearing this sweatshirt may be a little bit of a bad move because I'm now sweating my nuts off, but if I strip off later, then you'll all have to understand.
You're going to have to play magic mic music when you do, though, mate.
Yeah, right, that's going to happen with it not being queued up and set up fucking weeks in advance. So, hello to Paul, hello to Orinoco, hello to Darren, hello to Spam and Egg. So, if you're new to us, welcome. And if you're watching us for the first time on YouTube, welcome. What we're going to do over the next couple of hours is follow our normal format for our Thursday night live stream.
Different week.
Different week. First thing we're going to do is talk about what we're going to be hobbying on over the next couple of hours, keeping the wheels turning on the old hobby machine, because that's the way it goes when you do tabletop hobby. Then we'll have a quick chat about what we did on Monday Club Night this week. Then we'll just share some YouTube videos, a bit of news that's going on in the gaming industry at the moment. And about 9 o'clock-ish, or thereabouts, we'll tackle our main topic, which is, you could consider this a sequel to a follow-on, if you like, to a stream that we did a few weeks ago when we talked about creating your own curated gaming experience, pulling the different components that make a war game from different places, rules, terrain, miniatures, pulling it from different manufacturers, different areas, and creating or curating your own bespoke gaming experience. And tonight's topic very much sort of is related to that, is adjacent to that. But what we want to nail or get into tonight is, hi Ewok. Don't apologise, mate. You carry on shopping. We'll just talk around you, mate. We'll just talk over you. It's fine. So what
just a stream of consciousness.
What we wanted to focus on tonight was a term that gets bandied about in forum posts and blogs, and
not even forum posts and blogs. It gets bandied about at the fucking rules level.
It just gets bandied about everywhere, even in sort of like journalism around our hobby. This term, miniatures agnostic, just gets spat out everywhere. Okay, and to be fair, it's something that's becoming more common to hear. So we're going to talk about miniatures agnostic. What does it mean? Does it mean anything? And
is it gibberish?
You know, just sort of talk about that, because it is a bit of a. There's one of our viewers, Jerry, has got a bit of a bee's bonnet about it, and I 110% agree with him.
Bollocks.
In that, for me, it's a term that is wrongly applied and essentially doesn't mean anything. But we'll get into it. So, mate, do you want to go first with what you're working on tonight?
I mean, we can go first. So,
let me get you queued up. Hang on.
Disaster of
Video Ninja,
week.
go, David. Actually, David.
Yeah.
Just try and proc your phone to rotate. Right.
I know what it might be.
I don't.
I've caught the portrait button. There we go.
That has fixed it. Now that was bizarre because right, here we go. Go for it.
So after the disaster that
we always miss you, Tim.
English.
I know
English
that your
uniform.
excuse is that you're often just off gaming, which is, you know, we can't complain. But yes, we always miss you, sir.
So we washed it with some Athonian, and it kind of seems to be working. This is 2 coats of Athonian. So we're going to start adding some greens in and get going on these.
Where did you find it in the end? Your Athonian camo shade.
Don't. We don't go there. We don't talk about it. We don't talk about the state of my hobby desk at the moment. We don't talk about...
Oh my God, don't tell me it was on the fucking desk after all that.
No, it wasn't on the desk. Right, it was hiding in a box. However, if we go back to David Big Cam...
Yeah, okay. Delete.
Ta-da!
Oh, right, okay. So we're on... Plans sort out the paints is getting there.
It's getting there. It is definitely getting there. We have the entire pegboard filled with slots. I now just need to find somewhere to stand it and fill it up. I can hold 108 on that board.
Nice.
Slight oversight because there's over 108 Vallejo paints, and I own more than 108 Vallejo paints. So a trip to IKEA is required soon.
As befits my Lincolnshire tight-ass heritage, I've gone for a more cheap solution. I'll just show that off quickly.
Cheers, Tim. Everyone comments on my rack being so well.
Actually, I'll try and share it, but I'll need to take the phone out of the... Here we go. Apologies for the...
Oh, you...
Apologies.
Are you sharing your...
Yeah, no, here we go. It's going to be jitter cam because I've just taken this out of the clamp. Cereal boxes, measured out, cut up with dividers, just to put all of my Vallejo paints in. So we've got, I think it goes 14 deep on the bottom and about 11 deep on the top. So,
I love the fact that you paint all of your lids.
I know.
And I just don't. Just
let me go
it's
back to this before everybody starts getting motion sickness as I try and fit this back into the clamp. Yeah, so yeah, as I say, David does the professional looking smart effect. I just do the shit made out of Blue Peter style.
Because I have started planning my hobby room.
Ooh.
I've started planning it. And I'm going to have a really big L-shaped desk, and I'm going to have my PC set up and everything in the corner. I'm going to have 2 workspaces, and then all along one side is going to be where my printers are. So it's all going to be in one room and together, and I can do it all together rather than where it is at the moment, which is scattered all around.
One of the benefits of owning your own place.
Exactly. We should be getting some consistency and some more hobby time.
Mate, it's going to be awesome. You'll have to put some pictures up on... put them on the...
Might even do an OTT blog about it.
You could do that. People have done hobby space blogs before. If not, put them on Insta.
True, but my Insta's quite locked down.
Well, put them on the Yellow Belly Insta. You've got access, haven't you?
True. Possibly not. I may have never logged in, but... We will sort that.
Okay, cool.
After stream. What are you up to tonight, then?
And then Tim goes, and then he'll never find anything again. Your fate. Darren paints all his lids as well. Yes! It's not just me.
Then he can rant about it on stream. Right, well, that's settled that then, hasn't it, boys and girls?
To be fair, Darren, if Vallejo put their paint in clear pots, none of us would have to paint the lids. But the colour difference between... The other thing as well is, to be fair, I don't know...
I painted a lid once, but it all flaked off.
Yeah, that's why... Yeah. Did you sand the lid first?
Do I look like I'm a guy that's about to take sandpaper to a lid?
All you got to do, take some fine sandpaper, rough up the plastic, the paint grips 10 times harder, and it won't peel. Well, it will, but it'll peel a lot less.
No, effort.
Because I was thinking about it. The other thing, I don't know if... Because Tim says he paints his lids as well. I don't know if Darren and Tim would echo me here, but much as I do love model colour, the colour change of wet versus dry on some of their paints is insane. So even if the bottles rather were perfectly clear, whatever that is, PVC or whatever the shit they make them from is, even
Probably
if it was
PETG.
well, you're the engineer, you would know better than me. Even if it was perfectly transparent, I would still probably paint mine just for the Vallejo range. Oh, Darren doesn't do as hard as me, hard mode. He just literally just dots the top. Oh my god, I can see Ewoks in one of their moods again. Okay, right. So let's talk about
bit of slap and tickle. Ewok, it's fine.
Let's before we degenerate into some sort of like Northern Comedy Club fucking classic, like we did last week.
Where are your car keys tonight, Paul?
Oh god. Yeah, to be fair, gluing three-dimensional objects onto the lids so that you actually get a look at what the speed paint actually looks like on a textured surface is a fucking genius.
Do you want to know what's probably a simpler solution and what I may do now I have my Vallejo paint rack?
Go on.
I'm going to just print off a load of little, like, 5mm skulls.
That's what Tim does. He used skulls. I don't know if he 3D printed them or whether he got them from the GW
You
skull
just said
pack.
3D printing with Tim.
Well, it must have been the GW skull pack then, mustn't it? Or somebody printed them for him.
But that is going to be my plan, and then I can just paint them once and stick them on the rack.
Look at Tim's comment a few comments back. At Spam and Egg, brave undertaking. I wish you the best. Give us a sign if you need us to keep him in line and to keep the house clean.
I feel attacked.
Oh my god, they're now coming up with a code word. Oh dear. Tim bought them off eBay. So they probably were 3D prints, I imagine. Tim, you just didn't have to do the nasty 3D printing thing. You wankers would watch my show. Known. Okay, called out.
I'm busy.
Busy my ass. I watch you probably 1 week in 3, Tim, if I'm fair. Most of the time I spend in my evenings watching TV with the missus. Just say he's very messy, but yeah, he is. Bases. I mean, you could do sort of, I don't know, textured bases or with something on them. But they'd be a bit big, Paul. That's the thing. I mean, skulls are awesome because they can just sit on top of like the bottle top there and just be a great little 3-dimensional thing.
Shit. Or you go the Citadel route and you just have a nice domed lid that is just egregious. Oh, anyway, so I have a bone to pick with you.
Go on then.
When can I have my wood paint back?
To be fair, you can have it back this Monday if you like.
Yeah. Because I need it to paint the wood on these bases.
Because do you know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to use that Model Air one, I think. Anyway, what am I going to do tonight? I have basically finished my British. Which is a good point. I don't know where I've put them. Oh.
Don't you need them?
Actually. So tonight I am going to start the Germans. So we're going to start the World War I Germans from the Trench Offensive 2-player start set. So we have these 3 guys here. Now,
I love the guy with the pancake flamer backpack. Or am I thinking of a different set?
Probably a different set because these guys have all got this sort of backpacks, very standard World War One. I don't know if that's a gas cape or a rain cape or something that's draped over the top there. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing tonight. Now, I have already been Google Fooing it, and let's just show everybody
Did
this.
Google Fu come up with some good answers then? Or?
Well, this article got this sort of like blog post got cited by about half a dozen other people. So unless anybody can point me to something that's better, I am going to go with this. So this is a blog, Roundwood's World 2012, Painting Great War German Infantry Part 1. Now, it's a little bit wordy, and I'm definitely not going to copy his painting method because he does the bases first. He does everything in a very weird order. But I have picked through it to have a look at some of the coloration. So basically he's using, and the other thing is he's not just using Vallejo model color. He's got like some other paint manufacturers in here as well. So
oh no! However, will you cope?
But as I say, as a starting, so he's like leather and wood is Placa Braun, whatever that is. So this is where I'm starting from anyway. So basically the first thing is the uniform colour, and he does a 50-50 mix of German grey.
I was about to say, if German grey isn't in there, I am going to be triggered.
So he does a 50-50 mix of German grey and German uniform, shock horror. And essentially a few articles that I've looked at have said that, let's go back to this. Yes, definitely order wine. Okay, that's good to know. Tim's slowly decoding the YouTube algorithm there. That if you use an @ symbol and an emoji in it, YouTube will just remove it. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to do first. I'll just pick basic skin tone or something just for the skin, and then this is going to be the main uniform color. So if we get all of that painted, then we'll move on. A couple of the articles I looked at said that during World War One, the German uniforms had like a green-grey tone to them.
Evening, Cheese Me.
But hello, Cheese Me. But as the war progressed, the dye colour changed, and the uniforms became much more of a neutral grey towards the end of World War One.
Ewok's attacking me. Cheese Me's attacking me. Can we stop it, guys?
Hang on, what the hell? Ollie, what's this about? Aubergine. Russian uniform in Iraqi sand is the painting equivalent of a small aubergine. I don't even know what you guys are on now.
Do you understand what the aubergine emoji stands for, Paul?
Okay, I wondered if there was an emoji link. Because, yes, I do know what that... Oh, dear. Tim said Paul's just better at not presenting himself as a target. Sort of like keeping under the radar here.
Look.
Just ducking under it. Oh, goodness gracious me. Yes. From It Ain't Half Hot, Mum. Brilliant show. Sadly, cancel. I don't want to reload that. Right, so that's what I'm going to be up to. So, let's get cracked on, shall we? What did you do at club this week, mate?
What did I do at club on Monday?
You haven't sent me any pics.
I know what I did at club on Monday. I'll tell you why I didn't send you any pics, because I didn't fucking take any.
Yeah, that's fine. I gathered.
I played some Drop Zone Commander for the first time in 18 months. And fuck me, is it a game I missed and enjoy playing?
Yes, I do, Ewok. One of my favourite sketches was the one about the old guy was talking about Indian words that have made it into English. And he goes to his son, veranda? What would the Queen do with a word like veranda? And when they go to the restaurant, give me the blandest thing on the menu. That fucking show was absolute comedy genius. Just saying. Going for an English. Sorry,
Right.
mate. We're sidetracking.
Drop Zone. Played 750 points of Drop Zone versus, or about 750, it was just over, I think. UCM versus Sheltari was a fucking good game. We played the shell extraction mission. So basically there was 6 buildings across the table that we had to go in and get people out. And when we went in to get people out, we had to roll a d6 equal to the number of units in there and get more than a 7. And we add the turn number to the d6 roll to see if we get survivors out of the building. We played with a mode called Insurgency. So basically all of the buildings are rigged to blow if you don't succeed on your roll, which we didn't on 4 of the 6 buildings. And oh my fucking God, was the explosion brutal. It ended an entire squad of mine. It ended half of Ricky's squads. It took 4 out of 15 off another base for it. It was just fucking terrible. Ricky got to some of these hostages first and rolled a 5. Managed to get it off the table and secure it. The final one, Ricky went into secure, got a 6-6. So it was basically Ricky was going to win 11-0 if he got it off the table, or if not, he was going to win 6-0. So I basically blew all of his fucking things out of the sky.
So not to be petty, to avoid losing 11-0, you basically just blew the shit out of his stuff.
Yep.
Oh, how very, very sportsmanlike of you, David.
Look, he was already winning. It wasn't like it was balanced on. And again, I was trying to get hold of it. So there was an argument to blowing it out of the sky in the off chance that I could get to it, secure it, and then I can win 1. Because there was no way I was getting it off my corner of the board.
I'm surprised Ricky will play fucking anything against you, because you did exactly the same to him at Gaslands. Didn't you, poor bloke?
Yep.
You know, he's there rushing for the last gate. Oh no, I'm just going to turn around and smash him off the bloody track. Oh yeah, where are you? Back at gate 1? Oh, that's not petty then.
Look, what is my nickname at club? Captain Chaos.
Well, that's true. Ought to be Captain Vindictive Bastard.
Paul, you can fuck off.
Right. Sounds like Rimmer describing Risk. Oh my God. Oh dear. Right, okay. Better chaos than Alpha Strike. That's a reference for anybody who's not an tabletop fan. That's a reference to Justin's nickname at on tabletop.
Spam and egg is triggering the chat.
What, by getting you to dance?
No. An earlier comment that I'm not going to broadcast. If people want to do it, they can scroll back up and find it. Yeah. Because Tim's just replied with TMI.
Oh my God. Okay, right. So, I do have pictures.
Because you're not an incompetent buffoon like I am.
Because I'm a little bit organised. Although some would say that's an accident, not design. What did I do this week? Well, what I did this week was I played our second game in our Slaves to Dark Realm of Chaos Slaves to Darkness campaign. So for those of you who've watched a few weeks of our shows will know that
For fuck's sake, just degenerated. Fuck's sake.
What's
We're
that?
never gonna get monetized.
As the chat become a triple X rated obscenity fest.
Pretty much.
Okay,
Apparently.
great. Let's gloss quickly over that. So, yeah, I've embarked upon a small campaign using the Realm of Chaos campaign rules that were published by Games Workshop in the late 80s, I want to say. And
a period of time ago.
A long time ago. And without going into too much detail, we played out V and myself, who's the other hobbyist who's gone into the maelstrom with me. We played our second game. So, this, again, let's hark back to the stream where we said about curating your own gaming experience. What you're looking at here is a home-written scenario which V wrote for us, using the Mordheim core rules for combat and combat resolution, on Dungeon Saga tiles, using a mixture of miniatures from Mantic, early 80s Games Workshop, or late 80s Games Workshop, 90s Games Workshop. What else have we got in there? I think there's 3D prints from Hero Forge. We've got a custom print from Hero Forge in there. So this is as curated and as self-built a gaming experience as you're ever likely to come across. And it was fucking amazing. I absolutely loved this. I've been reflecting upon it quite a lot over the last few weeks. Even though this is probably a ton of work compared to most things to just even get to the table in terms of planning and logistics, the sheer enjoyment from the gaming experience has been amazing. I have almost got part one of my on tabletop sort of like blog, if you like, to go up on the project system, where it describes what we have. You're welcome, Tim. Which basically is for designing the war bands initially, collecting the models together, and then doing that initial paint. But as I say, to summarize what happened, the mission, the narrative of the mission is that we are two Chaos Dwarf brothers that are leading our own warband of chaosy followers. We went into a mine in the wastes, the great wastes of the Chaos Dwarf nation, because we were looking for a mythical artifact which contained purportedly the blood of Hashut, the god of the Chaos Dwarves. And essentially we had to fight our way through the other Chaos Dwarf miners and their orc and goblin slaves to retrieve this artifact. And then whichever Chaos champion retrieved the artifact gets a massive boon at the end of the scenario. My guy got absolutely fucking hammered. My Chaos champion got taken out. I literally only had a beast man left at the end of it. Every other model was taken out of action. So V scored a great victory there. But the other thing is we're not using. Oh yeah, to add to the stitched together Frankenstein of a game, we're using more time for all the combat rules, weapon profiles, and all that. But the magic system we're pulling straight out of 3rd edition Warhammer Fantasy Battles. So that's wizard spell points, full spell lists, all of that goodness. And it's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. If somebody is looking to, if somebody is considering it or has considered it in their time and has yet to jump in, I would highly recommend that you grab a friend or two if you can, grab the Realm of Chaos books, and just dive in head first. Commit to the hobby. Commit to the, just commit
The
to
overhead.
it. Yeah, because
Shit.
the reward, I think you'll surprise yourself with how much fun comes from it. As I say, it was just, I can't speak highly enough of the experience. My guy got killed, my guy got taken out, and I didn't win the scenario, but it didn't matter. A great story was told, an awesome, I had an awesome 2.5 hours just chucking dice, and seeing if we could fight our way through this sort of like maze of rooms to find this artifact, and it was just fucking great. It was absolutely awesome. So that's what I did at club this week.
I'm just ignoring chat for now.
Yeah, to be honest with you, mate, I think you need to have words, because it looks like a certain spam and egg is in there ringleading the shit out of it. Just saying.
I'm just gonna right, okay. So I'm just gonna put it out there.
Don't use phrases like that.
Just leave it there. Spam and egg, you know what I'm on about.
So, I haven't seen anybody tell us what they're working on. Somebody did say they were working on some Dead Man's Hand. Let me go back to...
Darren was working on some miniatures from a Kickstarter.
Oh, was he? What's going on then, David? Debrief us. So Darren was doing some Kickstarter.
That's all I know.
Oh, I thought I saw somebody was doing Dead Man's Hand.
I don't know. I'm busy highlighting and trying not to make a fucking hash of it.
Highlighting? What is this highlighting that you speak of?
Well, I need to put some more green hues into their clothes, don't I? Because they're going to have all Indian skin tones. So if it's all brown, it's going to look a bit shit.
To be fair, though, I mean, you can... Obviously, there's a huge variety of tone to the Indian subcontinent skin tones. You can keep them, very almost like very near to the Caucasian, with just that hint. Evening, Toros, sir. Paul is writing a game. Look, Paul, don't come in here showing off. Just because you design games for a living doesn't mean you can go rubbing our faces in it. All right? Oh my God, I'm not even sure what they're talking about, mate. I think you need to get the chat in order. Let's go to some YouTube.
How am I meant to make the chat get in order?
Okay.
Short of mentioning an Assassin's Creed so everybody can kick the shit out of me, what do you want me to do?
Sort of like distract them. Quick, bully me. It's a strategy, it might work. Right, so I don't know if anybody else has noticed.
I'm not going to say what I was about to say because that could be clipped and taken in so many wrong ways.
No, don't give Tim ideas. It's fine. Evening, Trevor. Cheeseme's asked where your towel is.
I haven't found it yet. We might cross that bridge soon.
To be fair, are you sure they weren't with your Ethonian camo shade?
No, they weren't actually, because my tower white, grey, and orange, and I wouldn't need a Thonian camo shade to wash them.
So where was the Ethonian?
No.
Nearly. Oh no, he's not going to tell us.
You know where you told me that it might be.
Oh, I wasn't right, was I?
You might have been.
I know. I can see why you didn't want to say, because now you won't ever hear the end of it, ever. Did you tell Sam that?
Yep.
Do you want to tell everybody? Do you want to tell everybody in the chat?
Do you want to do the honours?
So, obviously, after last week's show, David was shit a brick because he couldn't find his Ethonian camo shade, and he wanted to make his World War I British Indians look a bit less Oompa Loompa in their overalls. And basically, he got really stressed because he couldn't find his Ethonian camo shade. So, after about 2 hours of him basically tearing his hair out and flipping his bedroom upside down like some sort of like psychotic teenager, I said to him, well, you wouldn't have taken it down the caravan, would you? And put it in a box for stuff to go down the caravan. Turns out that's where it was. So that's one to me then.
Yes, it is. You got that Frostgrave terrain finished yet?
No, shut up.
No. If we're attacking each other...
Hang on. Oh, no, I'm attacking you. I didn't say we were attacking each other. Well, you got the wrong end of the stick there, mate. Anyway.
That's it. Graciously gloss over the subject matter in the hopes that it will fuck off.
The Ewok finishing his trenches. Oh, look at him. He's finishing Terrain Fest early. You show off. Etonian camo shade. Could be Toros. Oh, dear. What about Frostgrave? Oh, now I'm getting it. Oh, my God. Right, okay. Let's talk about some YouTube. So, Darren saw this. This was a really good interview. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but now is the season of interview the Games Workshop old guard. Paint and Phase have had just about everybody who worked for Games Workshop pre-1995 on at this point, who doesn't still work for the company. Jordan Sorcery is now getting into it. He's spoken to at least two of them, I think, Mark Wells and somebody else. I noticed, and there's another guy. This guy, Film Deg Miniatures. Now, unless I'm being thick, his channel was only started a couple of months ago, and he's literally put up a video which is an interview with John Blanche, and he managed to snag Rick Priestley and do a two-parter on Fantasy Battle. This guy who runs Film Deg is, if you watch the intro video to his channel, oh my God, talk about landing square on his feet. He was interested in playing Mordheim, put a random post in some Facebook group, and this guy goes, yeah, I'll teach you how to play it. Where do you live? And they talk, and he said, oh yeah, I only live a couple of minutes around the corner. Turns out it was only fucking John Blanche. So this bloke and his mate are now basically big mates, big pals with John Blanche, and they get together and play Silver Bayonet and Mordheim. And it's just like, mate, piss off, you jammy fuckwit. So, but aside from the man's disgusting look, if you're my age and you grew up with fighting fantasy, Ash Barker's in on it as well. He's been, although he hasn't interviewed anyone, but he's sort of like dragging over the old 80s and 90s Games Workshop products, and Steve Jackson and Ian Livingston. He's covering fighting fantasy this at the minute. If you've got any kind of nostalgia, these guys interview so well. John Stallard and somebody else was on Painting Phase the other day. They went down to Warlord HQ to do that. Fantastic videos. I didn't put it up because, I mean, there's only so much of these videos you can put up before it starts to become... yeah, we will get round to playing it.
What's that?
Silver Bayonet, it's been recommended to us by Ewok.
Well, it's a Joseph McCullough game, and we love every other one.
Paul, mate, honestly, that gate's closed now, mate. You don't need... Working for Games Workshop is not something you want to aspire to at the moment, I would have thought. I don't think. Working for Games Workshop 30 years ago, yes. Working for Games Workshop today, probably not a route to success. Ash has already done one, hasn't he? Is he doing another? Ewok? Because Ash did the Canadian one, didn't he? Is he doing the next one as well? I have seen a rumour about... Is it going to be India? Or Indian subcontinent?
I thought there was an
Middle
Egyptian
East or
one,
something?
wasn't there?
Paul, I would have been 5. Yeah, I was not. Yeah, we'd know what his hands look like. That's very true. Hello, Crispin. First time I've seen...
oh, God.
Yeah,
Crispin's here. Lock up your daughters and your wives.
Games Workshop, again, Crispin makes a very valid point. I mean, to be honest with you, Games Workshop paying absolute take the piss money is nothing new. When my brother won Warhammer single miniature in Golden Demon, when we were late teenagers, I think I was probably 19, so Rob would be 17, 18, just turning adulthood. They offered him a job in the painting studio that was take the piss money, and he just turned them down because it's like they expect you to work for the joy of doing it and subsist on fucking beans and toast.
Because the joy of doing it pays your gas and electric bills.
Yeah. I mean, the big people were earning money. I think it was Rick says that when they sold it when they did the management buyout, it was just before when it was sold. It was like 14 million it was sold for. So I think the people who were in charge definitely. Yeah.
Pennies.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, but we're getting off topic. These videos are awesome.
This is only the news.
Yeah, these videos are awesome. Go and watch them. As say, Jordan Sorcery, the painting phase. What's this other guy called? Film Deg Miniatures. He's only got a couple up. And Guerrilla Miniature Games, Ash Barker, for more of this absolute nostalgia from the beginning of the hobby. Next video I want to shout out, obviously, because, you know, whenever we start something in the hobby, I'm sure you guys are exactly the same as me, it starts to consume every waking moment and you think about it. And oddly enough, I've been painting my World War I miniatures and thinking about playing Trench Offensive, and what should I see but a Wargaming the First World War video by Storm of Steel.
It's almost as if your phone listens to you.
So, or even knows what my Google searches have been recently. But I am actually a subscriber to Storm of Steel. I'll be honest, his stuff generally, he does a lot of battle reports, and it's the kind of stuff I'll have in the background. I've never really mentioned it on stream because I don't find that I'm 110% engaged in his content. You know what I mean? You know, there's content that you're happy to consume, but then there's content that you're happy to consume and more than happy to recommend. This is a great video. And it wasn't what I was expecting. He really threw me for a loop, because I thought that he was going to talk about rule sets. But he doesn't actually talk about rule sets at all. He does everything but that. He talks about why the Western Front's often neglected, how the whole sort of like way of the war panned out, what is good and bad terrain for the period. Do you actually need trench warfare to represent World War One Western Front, or is there lots of other options? And from that point of view, it's a fascinating little video, well worth 20 minutes of your life. Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, we work in a GW store, it's just retail, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, Virgin Megastores were a great place to just go and fucking geek out and buy stuff. This is before music was a streaming experience. I want to give these a shout out. Good Enough Gaming, or Good Enough Gaming, however you pronounce that. He's done a series of videos. Which is better, Games Workshop or One Page Rules? He's currently on part 4. They're a great little series of videos. Basically, what he does is he takes a particular aspect. So he's done models, community, rules, and lore, I think. And he basically does why games, what are the Games and Workshop strengths and weaknesses? What are One Page Rules strengths and weaknesses? And he does say, for this video, X wins for him, but it's like he says at the beginning of the video, he's not there to tell you that this game is good and this game is bad. You make up your own mind, but he does a great job of laying out some of the pros and cons and discussing about the different things, and really just talking around a topic, which is the kind of content that I watch more and more and more at the moment. I think, just if you're interested, I think it's 2 for 2. One Page Rules have won 2, Games Workshop have won 2. And again, you pay your money, you take your choice. For me, One Page Rules, if we're talking Grimdark Future versus 40k, or Age of Fantasy versus Age of Sigmar, the One Page Rules systems are better. But what I would do is I'd buy the Games Workshop miniatures and use the One Page Rules system to play them.
I'll tell you what we haven't done that we need to do.
But that's because I'm not into my 3D printing. What's that, mate?
Regiments.
Yeah, we did say about doing that. We should give it a try. We'll book some time in.
Seeing as I'm still in the market for a rank and flank.
Yeah, we'll book some time in and get it sorted. So at least we can say we've tried it. I don't think it's got much to offer, because I think the problem with it is it's like some of the bits are from
against Kings of War
fantasy.
And everything.
It's got bits of Kings of War. It's basically Kings of War with model removal. And I can't see that it working, but we should try it for completeness. The last of my videos, talking of One Page Rules, following version 3 of all of the One Page Rules rule systems went to version 3, I think it was, or the Grimdark Future certainly did. Went to a version 3. Very quickly they've updated it and gone to a 3.1 based on community feedback. So just reinforcing. This video is by Haunts Wargaming, and this is sort of like a podcast style video where they just discuss basically what's different, what's changed. These guys seem pretty active in the community for One Page Rules, and they do a lot of battle reports and play a lot of the games. But again, One Page Rules basically just underscoring the fact this is a living rule set. If you use our online resources, we'll just keep updating it and responding to community feedback and trying to improve the gaming experience as much as possible. And it's just nice, just great. If you're a fan of One Page Rules, or do you know what? Even if you're curious, these videos are great because they'll get you up to speed on what's currently happening in it. And I would recommend, if you're somebody who is completely disillusioned, if you have a massive 40k collection that just gathers dust because you cannot stomach playing Games Workshop's rule sets, you owe it to yourself to just set aside a couple of hours and give these games a try, because honestly, they'll allow you to play with your toys in a way you probably didn't think was possible anymore.
Wow.
I think that's
Sorry,
fair.
was that childish?
Oh my god, Trevor, how many fucking hairs are there on a fucking dog's ball bag? We got loads to try, mate. There is so many rank and flank games. We haven't even scratched the surface. We've only played 3 or 4. I don't think we've even played
Hobgoblin, Kings of War,
Fantasy
8,
8,
Oathmark.
4. So we haven't even played all the ones we own. Right, mate. Next, this one's yours. Rum and Raising.
Lovely 3D printable Kickstarter that popped up earlier for Fantasy Pirates terrain and miniature collection. Really is like interesting me. It's from Ian Lovecraft. The miniatures are nice. The female
terrain looks a little cartoony. If that's what this
yeah,
sort of stuff
the terrain is a little cartoony. But Ian does do a lot of the cartoony style terrain. He has done previously. I'm quite a fan, though, of like the houses that are built out of boats and bits and pieces. It's just something a little different. Without it being, it's fantasy pirates at the end of the day. It's not historically accurate pirates.
No, I was going to say it's very Guybrush Threepwood, isn't it? Monkey Island.
But the actual miniatures that are being supplied with the lady on the cannon and the pistols and the guys with swords, they're all fucking gorgeous.
I do like some of the ancillary. Oh, that fort is nice.
Again, the forts are nice. The piers are nice as well.
That's great, that fort.
And seeing as I own Ghost Archipelago and I haven't played a game of it since Paul... Well, I have... Tell a lie, I have played a game of it. I played it with Paul. Paul bought it me as a Christmas present, fucking nearly 3 years ago now?
The miniatures are very cool, actually. They're, again, the whole thing's got a real Tales from Monkey Island bloody cartoonish style to it as well.
Again, you contrast that with the Black Scorpion stuff. The Black Scorpion stuff is very historically accurate and very nice and very pretty.
Dry.
But
I get it, yeah.
This is nice for different reasons.
No, I get it, mate. Yeah. I think these would be more fun to paint and collect.
Again, Ghost Archipelago, anybody?
Yeah, I think that's a really good call. Look at that, you got rowers, crew, all sorts.
Some stretch goals that are still left to be unlocked.
Then, mate,
no, I haven't backed it. There's 8 days left on it, I want to say.
What are your pledge levels? All in $66, £55. That's not bad, really, is it?
No, not for a shit ton of minis and some terrain.
You are getting a lot of stuff there. I mean, again, to be fair, even for just the terrain, to create like a waterfront themed fantasy, dockyards look.
Again, could you imagine playing more time?
Well,
on this,
yeah, I can. Obviously, more time. The buildings are generally supposed to be ruined after the comet smashes into the city, and I don't think Mordheim was on a coast, so probably not the best use. I mean,
it's my game. I will play it how I want to. Fuck you on the horse you rode in upon.
But I tell you what, I was thinking as well. If we used our Assassin's Creed miniatures and some sort... Do you know what? We should do Assassin's Creed miniatures, a skirmish rule set, and just do an Assassin's Creed tabletop game. Because that fort, is that giving you Caribbean 16...
Black Flag. Black Flag vibes.
1600s, 1700s. Because that's what that's giving me, man. That is definitely what that's giving me.
Yes, it is digital witchcraft. Cheese me. I'm going to add some Iraqi sand to this mix and
All
possibly
in
some more Russian uniform.
$89. So that's really good, mate. That's dirt cheap. But again, it's the 3D printing thing. I'm afraid I'm a bit old school.
Dark sand or Iraqi sand? What was it, boys and girls? Shout at me.
Sorry, what do you want, mate?
Was it Iraqi sand or what was it to mix with Russian uniform?
Iraqi. Slightly pinker hue.
I appear to have misplaced my Iraqi. There's
oh, fuck off, don't. Are you trolling us or what?
What about the multi-award winning Moonstone? That is a very good shout, Cheese Me.
Oh, what? The buildings? Oh my god, yes, because they would fit.
Like I have a pirate warband!
Oh my god.
I've got to fucking do it now, haven't I?
That would be so cool. That is such a good shout. Yeah, it would still require painting all of those Assassin's Creed minis.
Shut up, Cheese Me. We don't talk about that.
As I say, I'm growing more and more humble about that as time goes on. Because I have stalled massively on that little project. I don't know how you guys are doing at the moment. I'm just coming out a bit of a lull in the old hobby. I am actually quite enjoying just bashing
Oh, fuck,
through.
my Rocky Sands just squirted everywhere.
Oh my god, mate, it's like, does anybody else get the vibe that they're like watching Norman Wisdom live on fucking stream?
Look, leave me alone. Stop bullying me.
You should... Oh, no, actually, I'm going to take that back before I even say it. You don't want to print all of that stuff, because then we'll have to paint it.
No, we won't have to paint it.
What, you're going to print it in colour?
No. No, I have ways and means. What,
somebody's going to do it for you?
Yes.
Okay, right. You've opened like a sweatshop of terrain painting.
A wild Ricky and a spam and egg under my desk.
Nice. It is a shame, because as I say, the painting is the killer.
Moonstone for the win. Yes, Moonstone is very good. Not that I've played it yet. And we've got the campaign mode to play. Because I bought the campaign at UKG, didn't I?
So what does the campaign involve? Is it just like small changes to your warband
I'm
stats?
not sure, because I haven't looked at the fucking core rules.
Okay, well...
Remember, you have the core rulebook, I have the campaign book. I can happily bring it to you on, what's it called?
Yeah, bring it to us
Saturday.
when we next on our next get together. Bring it with you. We'll have a little chat over a coffee and look what's involved. So yeah, that's all of the news, and it's 2 minutes to 9.
Almost as if we'd planned it.
Yeah, almost like it was tightly scripted. My ass.
Darren's finishing a diorama. Which diorama is that, Darren? You've probably mentioned it before on stream. I've been to sleep multiple times since then. So, care to share again?
Was it the one involving a dragon? Did I remember
a dragon,
that
you
correctly?
say?
Actually,
I need some new sables.
I'm okay for good brushes, but I will need to buy some crap brushes soon.
Are you going through all your cheapy ones?
Yeah, I've had a bit of a run. All my size 1s.
Are they all coming apart?
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Well, if you can see, these are like 50 pence from Amazon, these brushes. And the points are amazing on the fuckers. Right? This I've been using for several days, and it's just holding its point like a dream. But I tell you what's happening, if I can get my hand behind it so you can actually see it against my skin. It's coming unglued where it's attached to the metal on the ferrule, and then the entire brush assembly, the whole bristle assembly is sliding back into the fucking stem. And obviously once it detaches, I haven't found a good way of gluing it back in that doesn't completely fuck it and make it splay.
Dude, you're paying 50 pence a brush. Fucking bin it.
Exactly, that's what I have been doing. But I've had a run of them that have detached. Yeah, it was a dragon one, 15mm dragon. Yeah. To be honest with you, Spam and Egg, I wouldn't be able to give you any feedback on your painting because basically after we'd finished painting that painting session, I chucked everything back in the box. I haven't even fucking looked at it. So just assume that you did a great job and it was fine.
When it's examined in the cold light of day afterwards.
Because once it's got snow flock and wash splashed all over it, it's fine.
This has gone more creamy. It's not really green. What are you giggling at anyway?
Darren. I'll try that. The problem is, I think what will happen is it will soften the glue on the because what's effectively happening is the glue that keeps the bristles together is holding. It's just detaching from the metal collar and dropping. So if I heat it up, I have a strong suspicion that it'll just basically, the bristles will just fall apart. But do you know what? I'll try it.
Hey, in for a penny, in for a pound. You're trying to rescue a 50p brush. Hats off to you. I'd have fucking binned it.
Crispin!
What's Crispin doing?
Crispin says, that's how I feel after a go with the missus. I don't ask. I assume I did a great job. And chuck her in the bin. Oh my god!
I mean, at least he said the bin and not like a hole in the ground.
Oh my god! Again, I have thought about it, Orinoco. The problem is, I am not the most, shall we say, delicate of people, and I know for a fact if I attempt to crush the metal collar with a pair of pliers just to pinch the bristles, I'll overdo it, crush it flat, and end up with a fan of bristles like this.
When you've got all these dodgy brushes, put them in a pile, and I will do them for you when I'm over.
As I say, what I've currently been doing is, as soon as they detach, I'm sort of finishing the current session, then lobbing the fuckers in the bin, because they are literally cheap as chips. Right, it's gone 9 o'clock. So let's get talking about.
It's a bit khaki. I don't know.
What are you traumatically whining about now, mate?
No, we're going to main topic. We'll finish my bitching session later.
Okay, that's fine. So we talked about it a little bit at the top of the show. The new buzzword, or it seems to me, one of the new buzzwords in miniature wargaming is for a game set or set of rules to be described as miniature agnostic. So I suppose the first thing to do is to say, what do they mean by miniature agnostic? Because they don't mean what they don't mean what I think the phrase actually means.
Yeah. It's a tough one because, again, the fact of the matter is, whilst it is a buzzword, what has it done to the hobby? Oh, we can curate our own experience and get our own miniatures that fit the flavour and the setting.
I'm just going to put this on screen for a start. Okay. Oxford English Dictionary.
Oh, fucking hell, we're going down this rabbit hole, are we?
Agnostic specifically refers to agnosticism and the existence or nature of God. A person who does not have a definite belief of whether God exists or not. It can be used in a more general sense for a person who does not believe or is unsure of something. Okay?
Shun the non-believer, Charlie!
So, but that is not even close to what we mean. Okay? What the phrase is being used to communicate is the concept that the person that makes this game or rule set has no predetermined idea on where you should get the miniatures to play a game with his rules or her rules. Okay? That is the idea that lies behind the phrase miniature agnostic. Okay?
They're not a one-stop shop selling you miniatures and everything else. It is just the rules. You enjoy them. You get the miniatures to play the game, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and as David's just literally illustrated the fact that from the idea that they are coming with no agenda as to what miniatures you should use to play the game, normally that is because that person or company does not make miniatures. Okay? So they genuinely don't give a shit what miniatures you use to play their game. And this is what is meant by the term miniature agnostic when it is used by people in blog posts and sort of internet journalism and videos about wargaming, blah blah blah. I don't think anyone who yeah, they're idea agnostic. I tell you what they are, they're fun agnostic Ewok.
Somebody just kicked GW in the comments.
I mean, let's get a straw poll in the chat. Who thinks that my definition of miniature agnostic is right? Have I interpreted correctly what we're trying to communicate, which is the idea that a rule set does not have any preconceptions of where you're going to get miniatures to play this game? Is that right? Or am I wrong and we're trying to communicate a completely different idea? Because this is the problem with the phrase.
Everybody's got different terms. I suppose this is where the agnosticism
because Darren
comes
says
in, doesn't
here,
it?
Well, Darren's made a point. He said he would say that miniature agnostic means specifically the rule set has a low specific requirement for miniatures to be used. Now, this is something that David, we were talking about the stream tonight, and David mentioned this in the opposite effect, didn't you, mate? So miniatures that are highly specific.
Yeah, you've got your miniature agnosticism as me and Paul have interpreted it, i.e. you have a game
don't even bother, Ewok.
The company has no idea on what you want or do, just get what you want and play. For example, Frostgrave is a prime example. Joseph doesn't particularly care what wizard miniatures you're playing with, just play with them and enjoy his rule set, which is fine. And he has lent his name to the likes of North Star Miniatures to produce some alternatives, etc. for him.
I mean, I don't know if anybody does know the details. I imagine that the Frostgrave miniatures by North Star is like a licensing deal. I imagine they pay Joseph for that. Would I be right? Does anybody know?
But then you have the flip side of the spectrum, and it has been mentioned, GW. GW are not agnostic minis. They are very highly specialized, whatever game it is. Now, Necromunda was what
Yeah.
I was speaking to you about on
Ewok
this
just
one.
mentioned like that weird new sniper model that's come out that looks like a fucking. It looks like somebody in some sort of like weird fairground suit standing on those comedy stilts.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck game would you use that in other than
Well,
40k?
again, GW do have some, in inverted commas, agnostic minis. If we take agnostic to mean you can lift them and use them in others. So in Necromunda, you've got the Ash Waste Nomads. They're a little bit like Tusken Sun Raiders. So if you play some Star Wars, you could build some Tusken Sun Raiders out of Necromunda minis. Happy days. However,
go on.
You have the flip side of that coin of the Goliaths and the Vansars that are, again, I'm just focusing on Necromunda here, not 40k and everything else, just Necromunda. They're way more specialized just because the sheer volume of skulls and everything on them, so therefore they're no longer agnostic.
Yeah, particularly something like the. I don't know
the Vansars you can get away with playing like Stargrove and stuff with. Because they're just more sci-fi.
They still can be used agnostically, but I get your point, mate. The problem is the aesthetic starts to look very fucking odd against other things. But I'm gonna be a devil's advocate here. I have built Frostgrave warbands out of Dungeons and Doggos miniatures and anthropomorphic animals from Burrows and Badgers. Now, there is absolutely nothing in the way that Frostgrave is written that makes that a problem. But by similar token, there is nothing in the way Joseph's written it that suggests that there are anthropomorphic animals walking among us humans. I have taken massive license with that. In fact, I haven't done a single human Frostgrave warband yet, because my first one was orcs.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, so Darren says apparently Mike Hutchinson has gone on record and said miniature agnostic for him is when he basically leaves it to the player to source the miniatures rather than the person making the rules, providing them a bespoke answer for everything that's in the rules, which I guess is fine.
And that fits and makes sense.
Just let me have a straw poll here, right? If I put anthropomorphic animals on the table against your Frostgrave warband, would that trigger you? Or would you be like, yeah, that's cool as fuck?
Well, you know my answer, sir.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be interesting to get a straw poll of everybody in the chat.
I'll tell you one thing agnostic miniatures does make a difficulty for.
Right.
And this feeds into your anthropomorphic animal.
Can I just sort of
situation.
like stop a second? Have you noticed, and I'm not trying to be a twat about this, I'm just asking genuinely, do you realise that you have completely changed, instead of talking about a miniature agnostic game, you're now talking about agnostic miniatures? Which is like a completely different concept. Which is where you're saying that a miniature is agnostic. And are you aware that you've slipped into it? Is it a conscious thing, or have you just done it unconsciously?
I've kind of done it unconsciously. And I think the reason I've kind of done it unconsciously is, without giving the game away too early, for me, anything can be used for any game within reason.
Let's come to that. Because again,
but the point I was just about to make, just before we go off on that, I think that kind of using your anthropomorphic animals in Frostgrave, really cool idea.
Yeah.
Really well executed, but you have to be very clear on what stuff is, which gives you a little bit more bookkeeping, say, than having off-the-shelf minis.
Yeah, okay. So this is the old what you see, WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Sort of concept.
Well, not even what you see is what you get, because again, your Burrows and Badgers are a good example of this. There's a lot of them that don't really have many weapons and stuff on them because they're anthropomorphic animals.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And again,
I'm
like when I did
fine and
it,
chill
for
with that.
example, I had to say the guy with the flintlock pistol, it's a bow, and he's an archer. Because obviously, you know, it's like they don't have black powder weapons in Frostgrave in the core rules.
Yeah.
So you have to, yeah, no, that's, but I mean, let's talk about the language thing. Okay, so immediately, David has demonstrated one of the reasons I fucking hate miniature agnostic as a phrase, because it starts to get distorted and put in all sorts of other contexts. So if you describe a game, a rule set as miniature agnostic, what happens is then people start doing what David did, even if it's unconsciously, and start saying, oh, well, these are agnostic miniatures that fit. It's like, stop, right? Just stop. The other thing is, like David has said, ultimately it comes down to this. There is nothing that physically connects. This is not a computer game. Even if it's a computer game, to be honest, you could still fucking hack it and overlay the textures and the 3D models in that game and change it. But that rule set, even if the manufacturer intends that you buy product X to play this game because they want your money for product X, there is no compulsion for that to be the scenario that you live or die by.
No, you're not forced to it. Nobody's got a gun against your head.
Okay. Just to say to everybody who didn't see in the chat very much echoed what you said, David, which is they wouldn't give a shit. If I put anthropomorphic animals on the table in Frostgrave, they wouldn't start saying, well, I don't remember seeing that written anywhere. You know, because, and again, because this is not what it's about. It's about what's cool, what's fun. But, and this is the other thing, right? So this is the other reason, and this is particularly why Jerry fucking hates the phrase miniature agnostic, because every game is miniature agnostic. Okay? Chess is fucking miniature agnostic. If I say just fucking get coins of the realm, spray paint them either black or white, and then use them to represent the chess pieces, there you go, you've got fucking chess, but with coins. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
Ewok, you are missing out, sir.
Yeah, it's a good game.
It is such a fucking good game.
Do you know what? Talking about my Realm of Chaos, here's a question. I don't know if anybody knows the answer to this. I wonder if Joseph ever played Realm of Chaos or had an experience with it. Because when I was playing it to this week, the whole mutation development of your warband, for me, it occurred to me it's probably the closest Games Workshop's ever got to like the Frostgrave idea, or it was the first time they got close to what the Frostgrave idea is. I suppose Mordheim's similar.
I was about to say Mordheim is that kind of set
tied to it. Yeah, that's Ewok.
OG Road Trader?
Ewok, just collect and paint 2 warbands. The rule book's 18 quid or fucking cheaper if you can get the PDF. You only need 20 miniatures. There'll be a huge amount of fun to paint. And
it doesn't even need 20 miniatures.
Just say to somebody, just keep trying them, you know. Do you fancy trying this? Go on. It may take an hour. You know. 5 minutes aside. Just give it a go. Just get all the pieces in place, mate. Keep trying them.
I think I've rescued these. They've got a nice green hue to them. I have rescued them.
I'll be honest, that did occur to me as well, Darren. Darren makes a good point. The thing is, it's like the slap chop. There are loads of people who hate the phrase slap chop. It's not new. It's just a recycling role in it, whatever, blah blah blah. But ultimately, the word became a buzzword, and it fed the awareness of the techniques.
Yeah, but as
Mini
we've already,
agnostic is a bit like that. It's
yeah,
just
but as we've,
stuck.
this is what I was just about to say though. As we've highlighted tonight, mine and your interpretation is different to Darren's, is different to Mike Hutchins. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
So it's all well and good having a buzzword, but I don't think the mini agnostic buzzword is quite the same as slap chop, for example.
True.
Because slap chop is a very particular defined set of black, grey, white dry brush, some form of thinned paint that will still show that undershading through it, whether that be contrast express, thinned paint, etc.
Yeah.
To do it.
Plus the fact, here's another aspect of it. I don't think that the slap chop has any potential negative connotations for the hobby.
No.
The issue I have with this concept that a game is either miniature agnostic or it is not is that it indoctrinates people that they can't do what they look at what I talked about earlier in my gaming experience at the club. My warband for Realm of Chaos now consists of a heavily converted abyssal dwarf lord from Mantic, an abyssal dwarf regiment kit from Mantic, old metal chaos beastmen from 1980s Games Workshop, the plastic Skaven from the Advanced Hero Quest box set for Games Workshop, and some modern Chaos Hounds, the new Chaos Hound sprue from Games Workshop. So I've got a right Frankenstein of shit going on there.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'd like to disagree with Cheeseme's comment there of people being lazy. I think if you're newer to the hobby, you're lazy and you go down that route. But once your eyes are opened to the outside of GW camp, the world's like your oyster. You can do what you want, etc. And I just want to bring something to people's attention that I mentioned to you before we went live tonight when we were discussing this, was miniature agnostic, and that buzzword only ever seems to surround fantasy and sci-fi games. You do not see historicals
This is a good point.
Piping up and going, oh, it's a miniature agnostic rule set. No, it's a Napoleonic rule set. Get your Napoleonic miniatures from wherever the fuck you want to. Buy them, paint them, play the game, because it's historical and it's set in a setting.
You feel free, by the way, to... You guys may have more experience with wargaming historicals than we do, but if we're wrong, correct us in the comments, or in the chat here. I think that's true, because I mean, if we go back to what was it, Mike from Gaslands, his argument is mini agnostic means I don't set any strictures on where you get those models from. That is true. But then again, you would, like David says, can anybody think of a historical game that's been described as mini agnostic?
No, I can't think of any off the top of my head. It's set in a scene and set in a setting, but they don't go, oh, it's a buzzword and we're going to market it. It's no, you want to play World War One, you go out and buy World War One miniatures. You want to play Napoleonics, go out and buy Napoleonic miniatures.
You guys have hit upon, you guys have said Battlefront, Warlord, so these guys do, like Warlord's got bolt action, it's got its Hail Caesar and all that shit. So they've got historical ranges to go with all of that. Obviously Battlefront have got a huge range of miniatures to go with Flames of War. But there are loads of other companies that do rule sets. I mean, there are loads of rule sets for World War II. You know, platoon level gaming, aren't there?
Yeah.
I mean, Are they described as miniature agnostic? I mean, is this in the language of historical wargamers? I think it also bears mentioning, like we said about the lazy, not lazy argument. I mean, lazy is a bit pejorative. I think David's right in that when you knew, and we probably will do a live stream just on this topic, so feel free to share or keep your opinions dry. But when you were brand new to the hobby, actually being asked to source all of this stuff and work it all out for yourself can be a little bit intimidating.
Because not only are you overwhelmed with, oh, I've got to build stuff, oh, I've got to paint stuff and everything else, you've got, well, actually, what am I going to build? What am I going to paint? It's not served to you upon a delicatessen board of, you want to play 40k, for example, here's your factions, choose what you want. What looks cool, right, you've done that, now build the fucker. It's totally different, do you know what I mean? Of that, there is an overhead and a set of, like, kind of unspoken rules with miniature agnosticism and picking what you want to play that is like, right, okay, I'm going to play some Frostgrave, but what do I do? And again, North Star are aiding the situation by providing miniatures for it under license or whatever. But again, it's okay, I don't really. They have a very specific art style, and it isn't necessarily the art style for everyone.
I mean, here's another thing. Out of the guys in the chat, I've never done anything conventional with Frostgrave. Am I the weird one? Or have you guys come across people who have done like, this is just fucking weird, but I'm going to make it work? Because again, there's that argument of,
maybe you're the weird one.
yeah, and it's not, maybe it's not even about experienced versus noob. You know, maybe there are even people like myself who might have 20 or 30 years in this hobby. They still look at Frostgrave and go, well, no, I'm just going to play with the Frostgrave minis. I mean, I'm thinking about Ash Barker, right? Ash Barker has done a ton of Frostgrave content on his channel. I don't think he necessarily used any much North Star stuff, particularly initially. I think he was basically working off his ridiculously massive personal model collection, but he always did human beings. Everything was a medieval-ish human being.
I'm about to just throw it out there in a similar vein from Ash. Who's the guy that does Uncle Atom?
Oh, yeah.
And Snarling Badger Studios.
Yeah.
With Space Station Zero being described as miniatures agnostic. But the artwork on the cover and throughout that book does depict lots of different alien races. It's not just humanoids, etc.
Right.
So do what you want, kind of thing, and build what you would like to play. Do you know what I mean?
No. What you're saying, that they've overtly gone and said.
So you know what you were saying about Frostgrave being agnostic?
Yeah.
Right? When you look and flick through the rulebook for
it's all humans.
Frostgrave, it's all humanoid. The only non-humanoids are the monsters that are put in, or the demons.
Yeah.
Whereas Uncle Atom, Snarling Badger, has described Space Station Zero as miniature agnostic.
Yeah.
And has therefore, as a consequence, taken a conscious effort to include lots of different races throughout the book.
And
do you know what I mean?
They've got an eclectic mix of models from all kinds of different manufacturers.
Yes, this was my... Well, it's all in art. There's no miniatures depicted in the book. It's all just evocative artwork.
Yeah. 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 I mean, ultimately, I can see why we need, because again, I gave a very long-winded definition at the beginning. The concept that you have no predetermined ideas about what miniatures people want to use to play your game system, where they source them, how they get them, whether they 3D print them, design them themselves, fucking scratch build them, or buy them from God knows who. And I can totally see why people want like a little 2-word nugget to encapsulate that idea. I just think that we've got a bad one. I think
Yeah.
is my
But then
and the other thing is,
this is probably putting you on the spot a bit.
yep.
But what would you describe it as if it isn't miniature agnostic? And I know that's quite a can of worms, and again, I'm putting you on the spot here, but how would you describe and market a rule set where you don't have a predetermined idea of what you're going to play with when you go out and buy the rule set? Do you know what I mean? You're going out buying the rule set. Again, this is the other thing a lot of the miniature agnostic camp tend to do is go buy your rule book, then buy your miniatures. Or buy some cool miniatures, find a rule book that fits them, which is what I've recently done with Space Station Zero and the Cyberpunk one we played at Heraldwood.
Yeah. I think you see, that is fair criticism. You know, put me on the spot. What phrase would I come up with that's better? And I'll be brutally honest, I haven't been able to think of one yet.
No, and again, I'm not trying to be a twat when I'm doing that, but it just, how would you, to somebody that isn't in the hobby, to somebody that has no idea what we fucking do, how do you describe it? Because again, right?
Again, to be fair though, I'll be honest, mate. I think the reason that I'm struggling to come up with a good answer is that I'm not entirely convinced of the argument that we even need it. I don't think that any manufacturer should be selling their rule set as miniature agnostic, because the whole concept is not helpful. All rule sets, you know, ultimately can be played with whatever the fuck you want.
Yes, and this is a valid point, right? But here's the comparison I'm going to make, right? I've had people at work, in public, ask me regarding my hobbies and what I do. And I say I paint miniatures, little plastic figurines, etc.
Yep.
Do you want to know 99% of the replies when I tell them what it is? It's like, oh, you paint GW stuff then.
Yep.
You paint Games Workshop, because it has become synonymous with the hobby in general.
Yeah, we know that our hobby has this problem.
No, but my point here being that it's the easiest way to describe to us gamers of, you're not obliged to buy miniatures from us. Do you see my point here? By stating something is miniature agnostic, I get your point of do we even need it, but it's the easiest and most synonymous way to get it across quickly that you don't have to buy your miniatures from us to play this game. Buy what you want, play what you want. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah. There's got to be a better way of putting it.
How about the term miniature independent?
I was thinking about that. Miniature independent. But
open rules, gaming, and suitable miniatures, acronym. So that's what ORG and SM.
Do you know what? I like the any suitable miniature. I think because you can say such and such a rule set designed for use with any suitable miniatures, and you can put that little sentence designed for use with any, in capital letters, suitable miniatures. You can put that little 5-word sentence on your rule book, on the back of your book, in your fucking press release, and it does encapsulate the
Everything
entire
we've
concept.
spoken.
I mean, it's not as punchy as oh my god. Right, okay.
I completely missed that, Ewok.
Yeah, so did I. I thought they were doing 2 separate ones, but we've actually got the oh my
We can't
god.
take our audience anywhere, can we?
What about, could we have open gaming rule set? I don't know. Word beginning with Y, because then we could have orgy. Oh no, open rule set game. No, it'd be the other way around. Forget what I said. Doesn't work.
Paul's old and can't English.
What scale has a billion suns?
Trevor, scale. It depends who you ask. If you ask me, it's a 4-foot table with about 15 ships, and then you pick and choose. If you ask Crispin, it's a 6x4 battleship that's 1 ship. We love you, Crispin. We love you, Crispin, but for fuck's sake, dude.
Start with a decommissioned aircraft hangar. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to totally take that on the chin. I don't have a 2-word.
It doesn't even need to be 2 words.
I do really like the any suitable miniatures. I mean, again, you could act.
I mean, orgasm is pretty punchy.
I don't know. It's a bit long-winded. It is very funny, though. I'll give him that. I'm not sure it's very useful, but it's very funny.
Cheeseme's just made a really valid point here.
Yeah.
So if it's any suitable miniature, where do you draw the line at unsuitable miniatures?
Well, that's for the individual gamer and his opponent to decide. And I'll be brutally honest, this is the whole point of this hobby, right?
Oh, fucking hell. Ewok's kicking fucking Crispin for a 6x4 ship, and the fact that Orinoco will put a base underneath it.
Oh, dear.
Oh, my God. Oh, fucking chat's just turned degenerate again, for fuck's sake.
Oh, my God. What were we talking about before the chat descended into fucking chaos? You just said something. What the fuck did you just say?
I was mentioning... What was I mentioning? I can't even remember what I was mentioning for a minute.
Remember.
Oh,
unsuitable. Thank you.
Yeah.
Look, again, this is my problem with this, right? Okay? I should be free to play 40k with anything that my opponent will let me play 40k with. Okay? If I want to build a fucking Imperial Guard army, which is a load of 3D printed squat knockoffs from some weird fucking Patreon. And then use, I don't know, semantic fucking Forge Father vehicles to stand in for things like Lehman Russ. Maybe do a bit of conversion, use some GW cannons. If I, as long as, a walker, a two-legged armored walker is a two-legged armored walker of approximately the same height, so I'm not fucking gaming cover rules. This sort of bullshit.
I don't know. You're playing squats here, boys, so they don't need to be quite as tall.
I would hope that there's a world that exists where I've got an opponent who says that's cool, man. Yeah, that's fucking great. As long as so that's the profile for, I don't know, Lehman Russ Vanquisher. That's cool. They're just guards. That's fine. That's the las cannon team. Fine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. That came up in the video, mate. And I'll be honest, I was watching a video on a similar topic, and somebody said that they had to draw a line when somebody tried to play a bolt action tank for a Lehman Russ. They were proxying. And like the boat was basically, I'm fairly easygoing, but ultimately that model is only half as high and 2/3 as long. And because this game is based on true line of sight, it's just going to break the game. So no. And that is fair. And again, this is why I like the phrase where we came up with our phrase earlier and said all suitable miniatures, because again, there has to be a certain amount of back and forth and fairness there. If the idea is, again, it depends on your rule set. If your rule set has an abstracted line of sight system, a la Infinity, if you're an S3 profile in Infinity, there's a little cardboard silhouette that shows exactly how big you are, regardless of what your model is. If your model's 2 inches wider and 1.5 inches taller, just use the S3 standee. That's what I actually look like. Determine cover with that. Do you know what I mean? Some games have mechanisms to really get around a lot of this. But if your game doesn't, again, you've got to be fair to your opponent.
Again, Gaslands has it to a degree. Because the longer you are, if you want to game and be a longer or a shorter car, that's fine to a degree. Yes, if you're a longer car, you get more movement out of it, but then also you get the issues with maneuverability, the fact that when you get to the end of your template, you're probably going to crash into bits and pieces more easily than a shorter car, and vice versa. If you're a tiny little car that is only like fucking half the length of a short, when you get to the end of your template, it's like, that's fine, but you're doing yourself out of race distance here, boy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of sorts itself with
and I mean,
Gaslands.
Cheese Me makes a great point there that if you are basing models, it doesn't work so well with vehicles because a lot of systems don't base vehicles, but if you're basing models, it doesn't matter if you're working off a volumetric system where it's the size of your base and then 2 inches up, or it's that cylinder, then as long as the bases are standardized, then it's fine. That's oh my god. Orinoco, that's why you use bases in Gaslands.
Orinoco, you're a heathen.
No. Just no, mate.
Could be worse. Could be trying to play Gaslands how I play Gaslands, which is with a car with no superglued wheels.
Oh. Actually,
you love it.
Yeah. Just in case anybody's wondering, don't do that. It's really fucking annoying, and it's so easy to just glue the wheels up so they don't move.
Yeah,
Don't.
but not when you got to drill them apart to modify them all after.
Don't hard mode it, people. Just fucking glue everything up with super glue and then spray the whole fucking car. Yeah.
No, because I want to put my stuff inside my windows, not over it.
Like I say, there's a whole load of problems with this miniature agnostic thing, but for me the biggest one is perception. We need to, I think it's, and the other thing is, as experienced people in the hobby,
Oh shit.
please be the guy. By all means, simplify. If you've got new people entering the hobby at your club, or you want to bring in a niece, a nephew, a son, daughter, and you just want to simplify the experience, so you say, well, these are the rules, and this model is this, and this model is that. That's fine, but please, at some point, those guys who has been doing this for some time, make it your personal mission to educate people that they are free to do what they want.
Buy what they want, play with what they want.
And encourage it. And I mean, we've touched upon, here's something else that's probably worth mentioning. We've touched upon the old gaming for advantage. I think you could probably find videos on YouTube with people gaming the 40k system when they used to have the true line of sight, and then you'd have like Tyranids modelled with just a claw coming out the ground.
Again, I was just about to say,
a Morlock just emerging from its base 4 millimeters high, and it's like, don't, unless you're being that sort of a twat, which is totally premeditated and is not going to happen by accident. Any small advantage or disadvantage you get from trying to manipulate true line of sight, distance measuring, whatever, with miniatures, it probably isn't going to make that much difference. It's a game. You're not playing for £500,000 worth of prize money. Your mortgage isn't at stake. It's like, just don't worry about it.
I've just had a disaster, Paul.
Why?
Broken my curry and I don't know where it's gone.
Okay, that could be a problem.
Well, no, because he now just looks like he's clutching a hand grenade, so we're going to go with that.
Oh, okay.
Yo ho, stick a cannonball up your cunt. Yo ho, put your dick in the blender. But you need to vroom vroom with the wheels here. See Ewoks on my wavelength.
No, you do not need to vroom vroom with the wheels. What you need to be able to do is put the goddamn car down and it still be there in a minute. Not halfway across the table and out the door.
What is the time? Have we got a time check? Oh, 10 to.
We didn't do bad.
No,
so,
we haven't done
let's call the main topic done. We've had our rant. We've got it off our chest.
Well, no, I think you've got it off your chest because I think you have more gripe with it than I do.
Yeah. And the other thing that annoys me about it, just before we go...
Oh, fucking hell, here we go. Where's the soapbox? Has anybody got a soapbox?
Okay, while we're at it, if we're describing fucking games as mini-agnostic, can we please make sure that everybody on Patreon who does 3D print STLs with no game puts a game-agnostic STLs on there, please?
Use these for
because I might want to use them in fucking Pathfinder and D&D. So,
yeah. And those that are made for a specific game that we don't rip off other companies for our ideas for, can we please make sure that we mention who you're ripping off so that you can get all of the cease and desists?
So yeah.
It's fucking true, though, isn't it? It's ridiculous. It's fucking bullshit.
As I say, don't like the term. I think it's stupid. We're going to call it there. So, Paul, I'm looking at what to get next, if Paul's still here.
I think he probably is.
So, when I have painted, now that I have painted my British and Germans, I'm looking to expand upon them, because obviously I need to go. I need more models.
I've just seen what Ewok called you out in chat for putting the car down and it still being there. Clearly, you've never played Gaslands in Liverpool.
Yeah, but to be fair, if anyone's going to do that and they can find them little bricks, they can have it. Yeah.
Should we go down to my desk cam while you're just talking about things?
Well, I've got my web browser up because I want to ask about these miniatures. So, because we've got here Footsore Miniatures do some great World War One British, which do look bloody amazing. Look at these Highlanders. Oh, wouldn't they just be so cool?
Yes.
And North Star do Germans.
Do they?
Yes.
Is that because of War Transformed, perchance?
So we've got Germans with assault packs. So German officers and NCOs. They look a bit Planet of the Apes in them sculpting. I think they've overdone the facial hair a little bit. Ooh, German stormtroopers. They are some very nice models. So, what? So, here we go. War Games Atlantic, mate. Paul, right, okay, this is why Paul's already, he knew what the question was before I asked it. So, Paul's got Scots coming out tomorrow. Oh, right, okay, Paul. Are they going to be previewed on your Insta, sir, or what? Just let me see if I can bring up. Because I was going to ask, what miniatures do you do to expand upon for the start set? Trench Offensive Shop. So you've got your British Indian starter, your Ottoman starter. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but at the moment, you've just got like the Ottomans, British Indians, and the miniatures in the starter set. But you've got new stuff coming out soon, correct? World Games Atlantic, is that have great Germans? Oh, mate. Okay. I will be checking those out. So I'll also check out War Games Atlantic. Is there anyone else that you want to give a shout out or a heads up to or if anyone else has any they want to chip in with World War One, British or German miniatures? Again, I'm not really going. I don't really care if we're doing like with a small scale game like Trench Offensive. If I have 5 guys in kilts and 5 guys in standard British kit, mixed regiments, I'm not going to worry about the historical immersion breaking nonsense of it. I'm just going to go with it. So I just want cool minis. Yeah, Footsore we had up a minute ago. They had the British. War Games Atlantic again. Can't go wrong with Paul Hicks. Yeah. Thanks very much, guys. That's awesome. Now then,
Right.
did you want your...
Hang on. Let me clean my brush out.
Beep,
Yes.
beep, beep,
Oh,
beep,
fuck.
pew.
Go,
You're
gadget
okay.
desk cam.
Go, gadget desk cam.
Rescued boys and girls.
Oh yeah, that looks nice, mate.
It's
That
got a
looks
nice green
really
tint
good.
to it.
And what's that? Your Iraqi sand for your webbing?
No, that's buff.
Oh, okay. I was going to say it looked a bit yellow, but no, that's good.
It's buff, and then I'm going to wash it, and then probably just edge highlight it with some Iraqi.
Yeah, or dark sand even. Pale sand. Pale sand I've also seen for British webbing, because the early, particularly the early war British webbing was very pale.
So the turbans, I'm going to do 3 different colours. I'm going with one guy with a buff.
Just going to shout that out and say, are you not copying the webbing for them all, eh? Because that's a missed opportunity.
Going to do like I think like a pale blue or a purple.
Yep.
On this guy. And then probably a nice red on this one. But I've
just
rescued
go with bright
it, I think.
colours for the turbans.
Well, I'm going to go more pastel because don't forget Industrial Revolution dies.
Okay.
Middle of the war zone. Go with more pastels. Just let me do my thing, boy. Then we've got Mr. Australian here.
Yep.
With his Lewis gun.
Nice.
And then in his British Explorer's hat.
Is that a pith helmet?
Yep.
Why the fuck have you done it green?
Because I thought, fuck it.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, people. Pith helmets were never khaki, were they? Weren't pith helmets always like pale sand to white?
Well, even if they are pale sand to white, I can fucking redo it. It's on his head.
And I'm just sort of, I don't know how. The only reason I ask is obviously I had to look into it a lot for 1938 Brits.
Because I rescued, as I say, I've rescued the tunics. I think.
Yeah, I think they weren't. I mean, I've seen lots of internet shots of antique ones, real ones, and they're not all white by any stretch. There are a lot of different shades of beige. But they are all very beige. You don't see them in green that I've ever seen. But it could be a thing. I am definitely not an expert. I did a little bit of research when I did my 1938 British Malaya campaign. Yeah, so this guy field dyed it. Yeah,
He got some paint. Be done with it.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Do you know what? I think that's a good shout, mate. Because you've done presumably the hat band is buff, is it?
Yes.
If you use pale sand or ivory, even, your hat band will still show up with a little bit of wash because it'll pick out the edge, and your hat band will show up as more yellow. But it'll probably look better.
That's fine. That's fine. I mean, again, it's the first time
really good, mate. Really good.
Me doing pith helmets, etc. I want to try and get them finished, ready for Monday.
So let's go.
And then the bases themselves are just.
Let's do a camera change, but he's gone back.
Bases are just burnt umber, and then I'm going to just give them a wash, really heavy wash with some Athonian and some Nuln Oil. I think is what I'm going to do. Now you can go away from me.
I'll try and get some pictures of my Brits up on our Insta. I probably won't get around to doing an OTT project for a while because I've got too much stuff backed up for that. But if anybody is interested with my Brits, what colours I went with, obviously on stream we'd painted the webbing was pale sand, dark sand. The uniform was flat earth. Then I went with khaki grey for the puttees. I I went with mahogany brown saddle brown for the boots.
That pale sand comment, Paul, if you're still here,
Yeah.
is that for the pith helmet, do we reckon,
Yes.
or edge highlight on the buff?
No, I would. The reason I would go pale sand for your helmet is because you need it to contrast with the buff, or you're going to lose the hat band.
That's right.
I would go almost white, and I would go pale sand or even ivory. Because I mean the officers did wear white ones in some uniforms and dresses. So they can go as they can go pure white, but I would do that literally just to show off the hat band.
Yeah, I'm just painting it pale sand now.
Uniform. Ewok, stop.
That was Russian uniform and Iraqi sand for highlighting, sir. It's what rescued these.
So yeah, we were talking about my Brits. I did. After some research, the helmets were done bronze green from Vallejo, and now they have this rolled up thing. Paul, I don't know. Do you presumably know because you sort of like had them sculpted? They've got a rolled up thing on top of the backpacks. You Brits, I didn't know. Is it a gas cape or a rain cape? But there were very few pictures of that. Because it was made out of a weird early plastic, I think, it degraded badly, and there aren't many surviving examples, and the ones that are surviving are basically one big coagulated brick, because you see them photographed on eBay. I was going to say, from the pictures, the photographs, there's a few photographs of uniform itemized, and it seems to be listed as either a rain cape or a gas cape. They didn't have bedrolls, as far as I'm aware, Orinoco. It wasn't a sort of thing that was issued to them. But in the end, I went with a very dark green. I went with German camo dark green, simply because I didn't really know what else to paint them, and it just seemed to look cool against because the fact they got a green helmet, it kept all the green at the top of the model. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that because they had barrack rooms built into the networks, didn't they? Trenches.
Dugouts.
Yeah, the dugouts. Anyway, so let's show you. That's just for anybody's. There will be a full project with all of that. Then literally, I did base colours, Agrax, fucking done. Phone it in, go home. So there's no highlighting or pissing about because these are gaming miniatures and life's too short.
Yeah, but
so this is what we've got.
They're really nice sculpts, so I'm doing some justice to them.
Yeah, you carry on painting on hard mode, mate, and showing me up. I'm not gonna naysay you. I'm just saying that my way is the quick way.
Is pink a bit ostentatious for a turban?
No, not at all. Says the man who has got no fucking idea. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that colour. That's pretty much all I've got done, just the uniforms. But I've got them done. And I've got the flesh tone down as well. I think I used dark flesh in it. No, flat flesh in the end. Just to get a base flesh tone down. And I'm pretty happy with that. Call that a day. Get rid of that camera.
Again, it's not been bad. I mean, I literally spent last week on them, this stream this week, and I spent about half hour on them in the week applying the wash. That, for where I'm at the moment, which is 5 minis, is not too bad, I don't think. I've gone for cavalry brown. I thought pink was a bit ostentatious, so I've gone cavalry brown.
Does anybody here know any Sikhs or know anything about Sikh turban colours in the early 20th century?
Starting to look a little bit like Christmas over here because we have all the colours now.
Oh my god.
Everybody's convincing me to go pink. I'm going to fucking repaint the webbing guide pink then. Fuck it.
Before you paint anything, you need to research it.
No, I don't.
Because colours in turbans is a whole thing. There's meaning.
Is there?
Most common colours worn by Sikhs are blue, white and black. Then there's national variations, regional variations. Oh my god, man. Rabbit hole alert.
Okay, pink and red turbans are often worn at weddings as its traditional attire for the girt.
Oh my god, don't tell me we've got an expert in the chat. That's amazing.
Orange!
Orange is a really popular colour, apparently.
Yeah, let's go orange.
Blue, orange, white and black. Really popular colours.
Salmon rose?
Pretty much any colour is known. Purples, whites. I mean, again, I'm looking at here. There's a turban manufacturer that, I mean, this is modern ones, but they're all in pastel shades and that as well now.
Weren't the army ones the same colour as the uniforms? Yes, but I'm saying fuck it. I have guys in turbans. We're going to paint them whatever fucking colour I like.
These are the questions that we need to ask. Were turbans...
military issue?
Yeah.
Well, that was why I went the webbing colour, but I was shunned for going the webbing colour, so we're going orange now.
I just thought it was a great chance missed, but if they're part of your uniform, that's even cooler.
All right. We'll get some bright colours on these and see where we go. We've got some orange. I mean, I am liking this because it's just a little pop of colour. Oh, they look good.
Yeah, there was a British military issue turban for the British India.
Fuck off with your Russian uniform and Iraqi sand.
To be fair, though, you'll never guess what the turban, the official turban for the British India was basically a stitched undercap, which was in the khaki, so Russian uniform, and then the winding was in basically yellow beige, so pale sand.
I.e. the webbing colour that I did.
A bit darker. It's a bit darker than the webbing colour, but it's, yeah.
No, I've got a blue one, a red one, and an orange one.
Lightweight cloth wrapped around the colour, which is the central cap.
So we've massively overrun because we've gone down a turban rabbit hole.
That's enough turban nonsense. Yeah, that's it, Ewok. Next week we discuss headgear agnostic wargaming.
Helmets and goggles,
Yeah.
not essential.
When does it, when does your headgear choice for your miniature destroy all gaming immersion?
It's a close second to the dice for breaking your gaming
Oh
immersion.
my god. Right, let's call it. We've overrun. It's getting late. It's time to call it. Thank you very much for everybody who was here tonight. As usual, you guys in the chat were amazing. If you're watching along at home, have your say in the comments down below. What does miniature agnostic mean to you? Do you think the term's valuable? Do you have an alternative term that communicates the idea better and without all the fucking baggage? If so, let us know. If you can find time to do one thing, please click the like button. It's only a little thing, but it makes a massive difference to the YouTube algorithm response to the video, which is going to be abysmal, but every help we can give it.
Fucking hell, Ewok got dark. Ewok's not here next week because he's proposing to his other half in Scotland.
Oh,
or drowning her in a lock if she says no.
Just about to say, that's not dark, that's rather cute. Oh no, that's very dark. If you can find time to do anything else, share, comment, subscribe, then please find time to do those. It's greatly appreciated. And with that, I think it's adieu.
And see you next week.
Ta-ta.